Excuse me. Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of Automotive Drama. Today I got a Ford halfway off the edge, 13 with a 3.7 in it. And like always, I'll keep the preamble short. Likes are nice, subscribes are better. Ring the bell if you want to follow more episodes of Automotive Drama, and questions, comments, please. Now, back to the nitty-gritty. As you can see, I already installed the thermostat, and I don't know if you saw a previous video of how I diagnosed the thermostat by temperature. Now, when you actually get the thermostat out, I don't know if I can show you in the camera. You'll see. You'll know if it's been sticking or not. There it is. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a shiny, there it is. That right there is a super, there it is. That's a shiny spot. If you look at all the rest of it, it's all dull all the way around. But if I come back over here, it should come right up. Where'd it go? Anyways, you'll see a nice shiny spot on it. There it is. Right there. See how it's nice and shiny? That's where it's been rubbing, and it's been overheated, I'm sure, or it could just be old and it got warped, and that's where the thermostat's hanging out. It's a spring action. It doesn't have a lot of pressure on it. Now, you see this bleeder? Make sure when you put that in, you always point the bleeder straight up as much as possible, because that's an air bleed. Okay, a little tip. The manual says drain the coolant system. Well, these things are a pain in the ass to bleed. So, if you leave the cap on the bottle, and you're quick about it, I do have a drain pan underneath here, but I lost barely any coolant. Well, you can't really see. I've lost barely any coolant. Barely any coolant at the floor. So, you just got to be quick about it. Now, also, I took off the fuel line. I kind of got it halfway off so I can show you how this works. This thing lifts up and clips out. And then when you go to put it back together, you got to push it back in. You have to push it down like that far and give it a little wiggle and it'll come off. I can't put it back together with one hand. I was already trying to do that. But always with a fuel line, if you can't take the pressure down, there's no relief, make sure you take a wet rag and to be safe, and you stuff it over the top of the fuel line as you're wiggling it loose. And always make sure you're smoking a cigarette and you're not wearing safety glasses, so when the fuel vapor, comes flying out, then you'll be nice and safe. No, just kidding. But definitely watch that, because there might be pressure there, and getting fuel in your eyeball hurts. It is quite simple, though. There's just a bolt there and a bolt there, and it goes this way. It's only going to go one way. And you got to remove the air cleaner. I took the boot off here and left it on the actual air box. And the air box itself, excuse me, this is the vapor line that goes on the valve cover. You just give that a little dink dink and it'll come right loose. It's easier to take that one off than it is to get to the one on the air box. And that goes right there. And you have one that goes to the back. Don't forget to put that back on. That goes to the boot. And then, of course, you have the hose. And those little babies right there is what holds the bottom of the air box in. You got to kind of wiggle them. If you can, shoot some lube on them. But I always lube them up before, it's an old rubber. And you got to lube it up before you stick them in, because it just makes for a better fit. But anyways, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Automotive. And also, make sure you Permatech NICs, those little tiny aluminum bolts, when you put that back in there. Just gives you a much better torque, and they'll always come out, and there is coolant there. So if it starts leaking, then it will get stuck, and you'll be drilling them out. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more. Have a good night.